Welcome to the channel. I write and speak about ancient philosophy, but more specifically, how we can use these ancient tools to live better today. So there are 3 terms that came up in my research this week that I wanted to share with you. Nothing is yours, not even your life. Stoic detachment, Epictetus, and mental clarity. Let's unpack each one of those and then see how they can help us live better today. Well, the first to go together, nothing is yours, not even your life. This is actually a quote from Epicurus, not Epictetus, and it's one of the hardest truths in Stoic philosophy. The Stoics believed that everything that happens in life is determined by fate or destiny. They believed that nothing was by chance. While we like to think we have control over our lives, the reality is we don't. We didn't even choose to be born at a particular time and place. It's not our choice whether or not we get sick, or whether or not we lose someone we love, or whether or not we lose our job. The Stoics recognize that none of us are in control of anything outside of our own thoughts. And so what does this mean for us today? Well, it means a couple of things. It means that we shouldn't be attached to outcomes. We shouldn't think that we're in control of everything that happens because we're not. But it also means that we shouldn't be attached to things going a certain way. We shouldn't be so stubborn and rigid in our thinking that we refuse to accept the reality of the situation. Instead, we should learn to adapt and overcome whatever challenges we face and trust that we'll be okay in the end. The second term that I've been thinking about is Stoic detachment. In Stoic philosophy, there's a concept called apatheia, which is often translated as freedom from passion. Now, this doesn't mean that Stoics didn't have passions. What it means is that they were able to detach themselves from their passions. They recognized that many of their emotional reactions to events weren't rational or helpful. And so they learned to control their emotions rather than being controlled by them. They understood that sometimes it's best to keep our mouths shut, to bite our tongues, to hold back our sarcastic remarks or angry outbursts. That's why the Stoics talk about the idea of negative capability, the ability to stay silent when it's best not to speak. Seneca famously said, "We cannot always control what goes into our mouth, but we can always control what comes out of it." But why is this important for us today? Well, in today's world, we're constantly bombarded with things that can upset us. We see things on social media that offend us. We hear people talking about politics and religion, and it's easy to get sucked into the vortex of anger and frustration and resentment. But if we can learn to detach ourselves from these things, if we can learn to not take everything so personally, then we'll be better equipped to handle whatever challenges life throws our way. The third term I've been thinking about is mental clarity. For the Stoics, having a clear mind was essential. They knew that our thoughts determine our actions, and our actions determine our character. And so if we want to be good and wise and virtuous people, then we need to make sure that our minds are clear and focused. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "The first thing a human being should do is to have a plan for their life." They need to keep their eye on the goal and ask themselves regularly, is this really the right path for me? But how do we do that today? How do we maintain mental clarity in an age of distraction? Well, one way is to start by setting clear goals. We need to know what we want to achieve, what we want to accomplish before we can figure out how to get there. Once we have our goals in mind, we need to break them down into smaller, more manageable steps. This will help us stay focused and prevent us from getting overwhelmed. Finally, we need to eliminate distractions. In the ancient world, distractions came in the form of gossip and idle chatter. In our world, distractions come in the form of social media and television and video games. If we want to maintain mental clarity, we need to learn to disconnect from these distractions and focus on the task at hand. These 3 concepts, nothing is yours, not even your life, Stoic detachment, and mental clarity. They all work together to help us become better, stronger, more resilient people. When we realize that nothing is truly ours, not even our life, we can learn to detach ourselves from our possessions and our status and our reputation and our worries. When we can do that, we can start to focus on what really matters, living a life of virtue and wisdom and courage. That's what it means to be a Stoic, and that's what I'm trying to do every day. If this made you pause, imagine what's coming next. Follow for more depth.